Hello out there, this is Wakeangel2K1, and remember how yesterday I uploaded a video showing a frustrated trip all the way down to Manhattan where I wasted $8 in train fare and several hours of my life in a fruitless search for a Star Fox figure? Well, I go to work the next day, and there it is on the Pegs in the World of Nintendo section just waiting for me. Had I waited just one more day, I wouldn't have had to go through any of that crap. Oh well, I got to work with Eli on some videos, so it wasn't a total loss. But I have the World of Nintendo Star Fox figure, which to my knowledge is the very first official Star Fox figure ever released. And oh my, is he a good looking figure too. I absolutely love his sculpt and paint job. It is quite fantastic. The only flaw I could say is that the tail is minuscule. I think they made the tail so small so it wouldn't throw the figure off balance and make it fall backwards, but you know, that's a minor quibble. Hold on. Yes. So obviously the Star Fox figure is made to more resemble his iconic appearance from Star Fox 64, unlike, say, the Amiibo, which is based on his look in the Super Smash Bros. Game and is somewhat more modernized. See, there's no scouter communicator, no reflector, his tail's longer here. Yeah. So we're not going with this interpretation of Fox, we're going with his Nintendo 64 version, which is a really good version. After all, the most recent Star Fox game to come out was the re-release of the Star Fox 64 on 3DS, and this is probably his most famous incarnation. So yeah, I agree with them going with this version of Fox. Okay, so like I was saying, this is the Star Fox from Star Fox 64, so let's see if we can zoom in a bit, appreciate. Look at how tiny the paint taps on those little buttons on his jacket are. If you look closely, they're even up here on his collar too. And at first I thought that those are just paint flecks, but nope, that's an intentional painted detail. It's so tiny, yet they actually went through the trouble. I also love Fox's little name tag. It's even partially obscured by his jacket, which is just such a cute little touch. I love everything about this. All the details are there, even if, he's made to look like the 3D model from Star Fox 64, so he has this intentionally simplified look, which I think works for the World of Nintendo line. I mean, maybe later on they can do another version of him that has like the furry texture and more realistic body proportions, again, to resemble the Amiibo a little more. Like they can do an Amiibo Fox, except articulated. But you know, this is still good. This works. Let's go up to that face. His expression is really cool. Like he has this sly smirk, that just oozes self-confidence, and when you tilt it slightly upward, he looks so heroic and determined. His helmet, or if that's what you want to call it, has lots of beautiful sculpted segments and a very smooth paint job. It came out really nice. I mean, maybe there's some patches around where the airbrushing isn't all that smooth, but you really have to look for it. In fact, the only place where the paint job is significantly flubbed is where the tail meets the seat of the pants. That's the only place where it doesn't exactly look the smoothest, but, you know, that's right on a joint. I know how hard that can be to paint. So yeah, he looks pretty darn fantastic. Going down, you can see his elbow, the sleeve of his jacket is sculpted just so to give room for his elbow to bend. And he has really nice boots. I mean, really nice boots. I want a pair of these boots. They are that nice. Man, those are nice boots. I love those boots. So let's get into his articulation. Now, the World of Nintendo line, I like to say, has articulation tiers. On the lower tier, the lowest tier, I'd say, would be the Toad figure, which only has 2 points of articulation in his shoulders, and the highest would probably be Link with his which is basically a shrunken down Figma. Fox, he falls pretty close to Link on the tier. I'd say he's probably in second place, right behind Link. He has a swivel cut neck, which has full 360 range, although, you know, that's about as far as a normal neck should go. Fully articulated universal shoulder joints, so they can do this. His elbows bend pretty good. Yep, almost 90 degree elbow. And he has a bicep swivel, which is so great. I was not expecting a bicep swivel. He has a waist joint, another thing I was not expecting, but it is so welcome. The tail can wiggle up and down. There's no rotation, but it can do this. His hips are the only thing that's a little bit restricted. They are ball joints, but they are so deeply recessed, they're kind of restricted ball joints, so they don't really accomplish much more than a V-cut thigh swivel, thigh joint, which is a bummer. That is his one shortcoming. I wish the figure could sit. That's about as close as I can get to a sitting posture. And if they're gonna make an R-wing, they're gonna have to do something with the seat. He has knees. His knees don't really bend 90. I'd say they get like an 80 degree bend. But he oh yes, he does have knee swivels. Like, you see what I'm talking about? Wow, this is almost Link's level. And he has foot articulation. He can point his toes straight down and he can bend them up a bit. This actually allows him to get a solid stance with his legs in cool actiony poses. So like, the figure is very well articulated and can take on some really great poses. Like that's actually pretty impressive looking, and I just did that futzing around. Like, yeah. That looks good. That's awesome sauce. So yeah, this is a great figure. He's posable, he's highly articulated, his paint job is very crisp, and it is just such a good likeness. It is such a perfect encapsulation of what Fox looks like. I love this figure. I think this might be one of my favorite figures from the World of Nintendo line. As you may recall, one thing I really wanted to do was see how this Fox figure would pair up with my customs. And, well, I gotta say, my custom Star Fox team doesn't quite measure up. Yeah, I built these two figures assuming that Fox would be approximately the same height as Link. I think if I had used G.I. Joe figures instead of Star Wars figures, they might have matched him. But as it stands, they're a little too short. Their heads are noticeably smaller. It's just very clear that these guys don't quite match in scale. That's my fault. Then again, if maybe I'll go ahead and make a Fox figure that's more like an articulated version of the Amiibo. But yeah. I guess I actually will be getting the World of Nintendo Falco when it comes out in the next wave or so, just to see, you know, just to get a Falco that matches this guy, because in the video games, Falco is always depicted as being slightly taller than Fox, so, you know, he should be taller. Alright, so let's compare him to other World of Nintendo figures. They compare him to Princess Peach. That looks about right. Princess Peach is about his height. By the way, if you want raw numbers, Fox, to the top of his head is 4 1/4 inches tall. To the very tips of his ears, it's 4 1/2 inches. And here's my SH Figuart Mario, who's a bit shorter than Fox, but you know, given how Mario is supposed to be a short guy, I think this scales perfectly. Fox is perfectly in scale with Mario as you're used to seeing him depicted in Super Smash Bros. So, yeah, there you go. So, of course, Fox comes with a mystery accessory. And it comes packaged in this box. It's a black box with the Star Fox emblem on it, which is a gigantic missed opportunity. It should have been one of those metal crates that you have to shoot to get the item that Rob sends you. I showed a picture of that, except I just could not find a picture of it anywhere on Google. And the mystery accessory is, of course, the little tiny R-Wing. I can imagine that Fox keeps one of these on the bridge of the Great Fox, the same way that Captain Picard keeps model ships in his ready room on the Starship Enterprise. So let's zoom in on this tiny thing. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead out there. This is probably the worst painted accessory I've seen so far. After the amazing paint job on the Hylian shield, the Morph Ball, Peach's Parasol, this thing just does not look as good. I mean, it's like they dipped the tip of it gray, and then this whole top part of it is painted black. Anyone who's played the game knows that the cockpit stops about there. And like, I can even kind of see where the cockpit window is sculpted in. It's supposed to stop, but they just painted the cockpit window all the way to the tip, and that is not right. Plus, look at that pylon. The pylon isn't really fully painted. Like, no. This is really badly painted, and it's a shame because if you look, it actually does have really decent sculpt work put in there. Look at all that sculpt. That is a really good sculpt job down there on something so tiny. It's as detailed as a micro machine, except that the paint job is really bad. I'm actually tempted to paint it up myself to look more accurate to the in-game thing, even though it's literally the size of my thumbnail. So yeah, like, I would have preferred if Fox was molded with a holding thing hand, and then they had given him his blaster. But, I don't know, I guess, our first ever official toy representation of the R-Wing, even if it is basically Micro Machine sized, is a pretty good find too. The World of Nintendo Star Fox figure is definitely Wave 3's Link. He is the top tier figure that everybody is going to want. And that is really saying something. For the first ever fully realized action figure of Princess Peach also appeared in this wave, and well, I guess Yoshi is basically just, well, for a wave that has 2 repaints in it and a tiny figure with only 3 points of articulation. I guess it's not difficult for Fox to stand out, but he does. Like, he is right up there with among the best of this line, which, again, is saying something because so far it's been a good line. I am looking forward to the next wave, hoping we don't have to wait another 4 freaking months for it, and I will probably be just as dogged in my pursuit of the rest of the Star Fox team, because now I want to get the whole crew. I want Falco, Peppy, and Slippy. And you know what? I want them to make the extended cast too. I want to see the bad guys. I want Wolf. I want Andrew and Leon and Pigma and Panther and Crystal and you know what? Make that Triceratops kid too. I'm all in there. I'm all in. Like, and on the 6-inch scale, make a big old Andros head. Do it. Yeah, I want all of them now. This has been Wakeangel 2001, and I love this figure.